As they're being mic'd up, let me just ask you a very straightforward question, Honourable Minister. There's a lot going on there. I mean, where to start? I'll start at the most simple question possible. I'm a Bayelsan who has never had anything beyond just passive use of technology. But I hear constantly, oh, this brave new world that is there that I need to connect to. Access to capital is a challenge. I don't know where to start there. But I'd love to have an internet business, or a business where the internet could supercharge my business. If I have the spirit, if I have the drive, even if I don't have the skill set, but I want to acquire the skill set, what's the first step for me as, say, a young Bayelsan, so there are so many hungry, ready to learn, ready to earn Bayelsans out here? What would you, if you're sitting down with them, having a cup of tea, what do you advise them, person to person?
Thank you, Mark. What I would advise is that there are a number of, particularly if you're a young Nigerian and you want to start an internet business, there are a number of competitions that are going on. We have one from federal government called Tech Launchpad, where we're actually looking at different applications and seeing what is the feasibility of this particular software app. Can it actually become a business? There are hackathons being held almost every weekend all across the country. And a hackathon is basically, you throw a problem at a group of young software developers and you lock them in a room for 3 days. And the person that comes up with the best solution wins a prize and also gets admitted into an incubation center. Now, when you talk about access to, and the incubation center, what does it do? It allows you, for many Nigerians, they can't afford this fast internet access. So it gives you internet access in a very, what would I call it? Amenable environment. You've got internet access. You have we're partnering with a lot of the mobile companies where they give us phones where you can actually test your applications. You get business support advice as well. You get mentors that work with you. We have the mentors of a number of banks and oil and gas companies working with these developers as they did their work. And very importantly, one thing I actually omitted to say was that we've actually established an IT innovation fund. If you remember, I talked about in the e-commerce field, there's about $200 million of venture capital fund coming into Nigeria today from outside. Now, again, what we're doing is trying to catalyze that. We've started a venture capital fund. Government is seeding about we're starting with $50 million to start with. Quite small, but enough to catalyze. We've seeded that fund with about $3.5 million. We've been able to raise an additional $12 billion just from venture capital funds, some of them outside the country, some of them within the country. $50 million to start with to give to young Nigerians, $100,000 here. And this is money that it's not a loan. You don't need any collateral. All you need is a good idea and your commitment to work on that idea as an entrepreneur to bring it into a business. And we hope that for state governments that are interested or are committed to ICTs, they will also invest in this fund, and we can actually manage it in a professional manner and ensure that this fund is available to ICT entrepreneurs in the States.
This would be a good point to actually ask the Commissioner. There are clearly significant and serious challenges to overcome. There's infrastructure in urban areas that needs to be improved, and in the rural areas it needs to be implemented, it needs to be built. What are the steps that you're taking to address these challenges?
Okay, thank you very much. We have, for now, at the rural areas, every local government headquarters has an ICT center, infrastructure put in place. But it's not functional yet because the equipment is not there yet. So that's a challenge, but thank God we now have Bayelsa coming to become a smart state to partner with the federal government. So I believe that in the shortest possible time, we'll be able to equip all the LGs and connectivity will improve. Thank you.
Thank you. And I want to go on to stay with the people and stay with the people plugging into the digital revolution and focus a little bit on digital literacy. You said something about digital confidence, which I think is that what happens before digital literacy? Is that right? First of all, is there sort of a mind shift that people need to adapt, to not be afraid, but to be able to embrace, and then they embrace, and then the literacy comes. I just want to understand, spell out in practical terms, what would be available for individuals in Bayelsa to become digitally confident and then go on to be digitally literate. Specifically to Bayelsa, with such a young, vibrant workforce that is, and with a leadership that they have that's ready to actually respond to anything from a federal level and make it happen on a state level.
I think they probably happen in parallel. And digital literacy is all about how well can you use a keyboard, how, Windows or whatever it is, how do you manipulate a spreadsheet. If you get on the internet, do you know how to get onto the browser? That's digital literacy. But it goes hand in hand with digital confidence, because there are many people that understand all of these things, but because of the bad press on the internet, we talk about 419, we talk about the Yahoo people.
That's an issue.
Because of all of that, people are so afraid to do anything on the internet. And that's where the digital confidence comes in.
And I think we as Nigerians are even more afraid of people outside when it comes to 419 and things like that, because we're terrified of our data just being misused and abused.
Absolutely. The number of things that are happening to improve that digital confidence. We actually have privacy laws in Nigeria. So when you give your data to a government agency that asks for it, that government agency cannot give it to any other person. It's those kind of laws that make people confident to give their data, because as we're talking about bringing government services online, it means that we're taking more information about you online, and you must be confident that that information will not be misused. So there are laws that are actually protecting you. The other thing is that when you're transacting, when you're making financial transactions on the internet, you need to be sure that the money that you've paid is the money that's going to be deducted from your account. It's easy when it's cash. If somebody says, pay me 1,000 naira, you give them 1,000 naira and you're over and done with it. But there are things that happen. People talk about, oh, I put the ATM swallowed my card. I asked for 1,000 naira, it gave me only 500. And when I looked at my statement, it had taken out 5,000. All of those things, we need to ensure that those things don't happen, or they happen less and less frequently, so that when people actually transact financially on the internet, they're confident that what they have paid out is actually what is coming out of their accounts. And there are all kinds of software applications that we're developing to ensure that this happens.
Ikechukwu Namani, please, Medallion Communications, just explain what you do. And in terms of, ICT is your expertise, isn't it? You must have, 10, 15, 20 years experience in it. So you've watched the evolution from a commercial perspective. First of all, just quickly tell people what you do and your opinions on this, the digital revolution and all the aspects of it, and how that could be, how you could plug in, and how companies like yourselves could plug in.
Okay, thank you. His Excellency, the Minister of Protocol duly observed. This event was of strategic importance to us as Medallion, which is why I had to personally come myself, because hopefully within the coming months, we will be setting up some critical telecom infrastructure within the state. We have a strategic plan to make that happen within the coming months. And what we will be putting on ground is going to be a duplication of the kind of infrastructure we have in states like Lagos, Abuja, and other places. And what that is pretty much a carrier-neutral data center hosting infrastructure. Medallion today is probably the #1 enabler of carrier-neutral hosting services in the country. In our operating center in Lagos, we've got over 70 service providers who are warehoused within the same building using our co-location services. And I'm talking of all the carriers, all the GSM operators are with us, all the international fibers in the country are being distributed out of Medallion.
So how many jobs would that create in Bayelsa?
It's going to create not a lot of job in terms of quantity, but in terms of high net worth job, it's going to create a lot of that. But the ripple effect of the services would even create more jobs. In other words, what we've done today is we've put together a facility where all the carriers meet together in one place. Today, we are the ones hosting the Nigerian Internet Exchange in Lagos, Abuja. We are also hosting the Nigeria.ng domain servers, Google, last week or 2 weeks ago, the minister, together with the president, they launched the Nigerian University Research Connectivity Network. Lagos Abuja Medallion is a hosting site for those infrastructure. So those are the infrastructure that we